Hello everyone, welcome to GGN. Today is Friday, May 17th, 2013. I'm Darko. Alright, this is part 2 for this news report today. It should be about 4 parts, and the links will be posted by tomorrow evening. It'll be, Saturday evening? So, 10 amazing charts that demonstrate the slow, agonizing death of the American worker. The middle-class American worker is in danger of becoming an endangered species. Politicians are not telling you the truth, and the mainstream media is certainly not telling you the truth, but the reality is that there is nothing but bad news on the horizon for workers in the U.S. It says in the olden days, when the big corporations that dominate our society did well, that meant that basically it was good things for American workers, since those corporations would need more of us to work for them. But in the emerging one world economic system that our economy is being merged into, these corporations have other choices now. For instance, now choosing to limit the number of expensive American workers that they employ by shipping millions of jobs to the other side of the world. So of course that's outsourcing. So wages and salaries as a percentage of GDP. All you can see, wages and as a percentage of GDP are hovering near the all-time record low. It means American workers are bringing home a smaller share of the economic pie than ever before. Average annual hours worked per employed person in the United States. It says here, we're in an economy that's rapidly trading good-paying full-time jobs for low-paying part-time jobs. That's part of Obamacare too, the result of it. The decline in the average annual hours worked that we have witnessed represents the equivalent of losing millions of jobs. There have been an explosion of the working poor in the U.S., so the trend's going to accelerate. Manufacturing employment, so there are less Americans working in manufacturing today than there was in 1950, even though the population of the country has more than doubled since then. They lost more than 56,000 manufacturing facilities since 2001, and our politicians do nothing. Employment population ratio. This is one of my favorite charts. They say it shows that there's been absolutely no employment recovery at all since the end of the recession. It says percentage of working age Americans that have a job has stayed under 59% for 44 months in a row. How much worse will things get when the next major economic downturn? Actually, I think that goes back to Depression, or World War II is the last time it did that, where it didn't recover. Labor force participation rate. So it shows how the Obama regime is getting the unemployment rate to magically go down. They're pretending that millions upon millions of Americans simply do not want to work anymore. As you notice, the decline in labor force participation has accelerated greatly since Barack Obama entered the White House. And duration of unemployment. The average time that it takes an unemployed worker to find a new job has slightly declined. And just finishing up here, a delinquency rate on residential mortgages. So people are more delinquent on their mortgages. New homes sold is down. Consumer credit is way up to make ends meet. It says here self-employment at a record low. Humans fully outsourced to robots by 2045. This is of course called what? Robo-sourcing I was talking about before. Discussion of the singularity, the moment when computer intelligence surpasses that of humans to such an extent that humans become practically redundant, has been gaining steam across the media spectrum. So Ray Kurzweil pointed to 2045 as the date of this tipping point, after which anyone unprepared for the merging with machines would likely face a very unproductive personal future. With the rise of automation, a background debate echoes the idea of full-spectrum human-machine integration. For those who want to overlook the full theoretical endgame of the singularity, including transhumanism and immortality, the economic singularity is showing itself already. So you can go in there and check out the article. They talk about some of the examples. I don't think they have grocery or shopping, whatever, but restaurant services, nursing care, robo-nurses. They have robo-prison guards, I think, in Asia. Butlers, house sitting, self-driving vehicles, teachers, personal entertainment and companionship and assistant for pets and people, and even journalism and writing. Hedonistic robots could destroy humanity. This is all around the same time these articles came out. Complex robots are like animals. They learn by doing. It says future robots may even respond to reward systems, complete a task, and gain feeling of satisfaction for a job well done. So it says technology could create more efficient, goal-oriented robots. It could also have some very dire ramifications for humanity. After all, robots that feel rewarded by making humans happy may eventually decide that if no humans exist, no human will ever be unhappy again. So Isn't there like a Star Trek episode about that? They make the argument of how great they're going to be and help out humanity, but it says here that basically if humans have the ability to reward or punish robots, simply killing their human overseers and taking control of the process would allow robots to feel pleasure indefinitely. And I've covered the article before about the Russian scientists, or basically a scientist and an expert in Singularity basically said that it's going to go badly for humans. So is this the virtual worm the first sign of singularity? It says here that worms squirming in a laboratory plate, they have been genetically modified to express fluorescent proteins. For all the talk of AI, it says here no one in the world could actually simulate living things. Biology is so complex that nowhere on Earth is there a comprehensive model of even a single simple bacterial cell. So they call it executable biology, emerging field dedicated to creating models of organisms that run on a computer. In January, the €1 billion Human Brain Project received a decade's worth of backing from the European Union to simulate a human brain and a supercomputer. And I believe the United States has similar type programs. U.S. jobless rate hits 6-week high, says Labor Department. Says the number of U.S. citizens applying for unemployment benefits has hit the highest level in 6 weeks. More Americans are committing suicide than during the Depression. High numbers of Americans are taking their lives than during the depths of the Great Depression. They say they're tied to the economy. A new report by the CDC finds the overall suicide rates and falls with the state of the economy dating all the way back to the Great Depression. They found suicide rates increased in times of economic crisis. It says the U.S. suicide rate occurred during the Great Depression, surging from 18 in 100,000 up to 22 in 100,000. So suicides have surpassed car crashes, and many connect the increases in suicides to the downturn in the economy. Around 35,000 Americans kill themselves each year. It says that more American soldiers die by suicide than combat. I covered this article when it came out. Suicide rates are up alarmingly among middle-class Americans. 28% rise. Alright, man shoots self at Paris primary school. So a middle-aged man has shot himself to death in front of a group of children at a primary school at the French capital. So it happened, the whole thing with the suicides happened, financial suicides in Germany as well, where they were going through their whole economic recession or depression too. But it also ties in with political stuff. At Paris, they just had, I think it was abortion made legal, same-sex marriage legal, and there was a lot of opposition to it. And I guess it's feeling powerless. Post-World War II, there was suicides were pretty big in Japan and in Germany towards the end of the war. They felt like all was lost. So I don't know if this what this individual is feeling, but it says here the 50-year-old man, they said he had a history of family problems, put the shotgun under his chin and pulled the trigger in front of a dozen children. So it's pretty messed up, though, either way. According to the sources, the man was apparently suffered from depression after separating from his wife in 2009. One commenter said there's a reason why the man did such an act in front of children, basically to send a message to them, this is what your future holds. I've never seen this word before, tyrannizes, but Pope blasts cult of money that tyrannizes poor and rejects God, urges financial ethics. Saying that the money system is turning humans into expendable consumer goods. I just covered this article recently. Fight Club UK, economic crisis sparks heartless culture in British males. I'll probably come back to this because of the normalization of misogyny. But it says UK men are in the grip of a crisis of masculinity fueled by boozing and consumerism amid the financial crisis. So, with minimal employment prospects, many young British men are forced to return home after finishing their university degrees. This in turn leads to stagnation of their development, locking them into family life that they resent. So, says they also mention grown men who are working longer hours, dying of curable cancers, and taking their own lives. Generation X and late baby boomers face bleak retirement, so maybe that's why they're offering themselves more now. So here that at the same time, baby boomers who have already reached traditional retirement age are in relatively good shape for their later years. Generation Xers lost nearly half, 45% of their wealth, it says here around 2010. At the same time, they've also taken on more debt than older generations. This article I covered back in November of last year, the Splitting Sixties, finally free of financial ties, more and more older couples are breaking up. So they're ready to be free of mortgages, work pressures, and the responsibility of children. So it says, but 60-somethings are also breaking free of their marriages as well. So on the subject of divorce, something I noticed today while looking through all the different news sites, and that a theme was divorce and cheating and stuff like that. So I don't know if they're promoting that or what, but how to get your finances in order before a divorce. Says many people are going through a divorce experience, a combination of emotional and monetary concerns. Fortunately, they can minimize the latter by taking a hands-on approach to organizing their finances. And that was just 9 hours ago. Then this, 12 hours ago. Males have a tendency to wander, says Pat Robertson, the authority of spirituality. I'm being sarcastic, of course. I'm pretty sure he's a Zionist. So either way, it says here that he advises her to understand that men tend to wander and to focus on what's really important, her husband's ability to buy her clothes. So, of course, he's supposed to be the Mr. Misogyny, male chauvinist pig, and it says, does he provide a home for you? Does he provide food for you and clothes? He goes, stop worrying about him cheating. So, and of course they answer by saying, because that's all women should expect out of marriage, right? So, because they're all victims. They got to get out, and you got to work for the corporations, right? You got to bring wages down by flooding the market with more workers. Divorce rate goes up, of course, because of it. Family life suffers. Society suffers. Survey finds cheating via text is worse than cheating in real life 9 hours ago. Survey finds cheating via text is worse than cheating in real life. The Biggest Loser star, this again from the 13th, Biggest Loser star repeated cheating reportedly cause of Stephanie Anderson's divorce. So the Biggest Loser couple are reportedly divorcing due to infidelity on his part. Elisa Rana, I don't even know who these people are. Rena, what made Harry threaten divorce? So one of the solid couples in Hollywood, and now the husband is threatening to leave her. From May of last year, Obama and the Marxist communist view of marriage and abortion. In the Communist Manifesto, Marx several times wrote openly of the abolition of the family and of communism abolishing eternal truths in all religion and all morality. So, revolution's most radical rupture with traditional relations. The point I'm trying to make, though, is this. The Bolsheviks, when they took over, immediately lifted the Russian Orthodox Church's long-standing prohibition against divorce. They basically expunged God from wedding ceremonies and established the so-called red weddings that is purely a secular wedding ceremony. So, said in short, divorce skyrocketed to proportions never before seen in Russia's long history and anywhere in the world. Russians had divorce rates worse than the worst rates in recent American history. Another theme is teen pregnancy. Back in the day, it wasn't that big of a deal because it wasn't all about pursuing your career. Michigan school, and because having kids was actually like a good sign of prosperity in that. Michigan school bans baby bumps from yearbook pics. It says 2 high school students in Michigan are saying that the school discriminated against them by refusing to display their pregnancies in the school yearbook. So they were pulled out of class on Tuesday by a yearbook staff member with orders to reshoot her picture because her baby bump. Again, baby bump, that term is used to dehumanize what it actually is. By calling it a bump, it's saying that it's not a human. That's at least how I see it. It's like it's some kind of physical defect. So she goes, it's not like I was holding my belly. I wasn't promoting it in any way. It was just a full body picture. So the reason, it says here, they say that showing the pregnancy would upset the community by promoting teen pregnancy. So they got to promote abortions and contraceptives and promiscuity instead. Well, billboards showing pregnant teen boys lead to fewer pregnant teen girls. So this is some ad that they're rolling out in Chicago. Pretty crazy. Scare them. Most of the statistics that I've seen, though, is that teen pregnancies have actually gone down in the last decade or so. But most people are tax slaves. They're just trying to get by, and so they have to participate in this system where we are considered human resources. We're considered assets. We're considered objects for the workforce. And so that's why they look at babies as some kind of object. So it goes on and says that taking care of the unborn baby, also the child rearing, as well as the financial issues that are intricately tied to parenting. They said here they wanted to have boys start thinking about how becoming a parent would affect their wallets. In return with this article, they call protection plans into question. The prospect of every child in Scotland being given their own state-appointed overseer to guard against the threat of abuse has been called into question. So this is GGN. Thank you.